Hello, hello.
Sorry. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone. Rhonda, Sally, hello, hello.
Hi, Byron. Ashley, yeah, excited to see what's on the agenda today.
Me too, me too.
It's always exciting, right? We change our mind like 5-year-olds.
Hi, Fabiola.
Hello, greetings from, how do you say this, Heather? Okay. Chata,
I saw it too. I was like,
Chattanooga?
Chattanooga. Chattanooga, I
Chattanooga.
think.
Okay, hello, Arkansas.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Lynn. Hello,
How
everybody.
are everyone,
Angie.
guys? Hi, Karen.
So, Hannah's kicking it off today. She already called dibs.
I did what? My bag just blew up before. Literally, like I was scrambling to. Hey guys, just give me a second.
Oh, we're having technical difficulties. Let's put her in the hot seat.
Okay, yeah, that's great. You can enjoy my new painted wall. We
Oh,
did that
yes,
this
yes.
weekend. Yes.
Yeah, you see, she's got it all snazzy now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Marilyn suggested I need to add some color so I don't look like from the '60s black and white TV. I wanted to, before we jump in, I wanted to say I stopped by in a little store in Alicante. Okay, let me bring this up. Where is this? Oops. Oopsie. Oopsie. Okay. So I'll show you some goodies I got. Oops. Can you guys
We
see?
went shopping.
After actually 2 years, I went to a specialty store. So I'm excited about this cutter. This is a Italian brand, Decora. Maybe some of you also know this brand. So I'm excited to use this. I think I'll use it for. I wasn't planning on St. Patrick's Day cookies, but maybe I'll do some. And then another set that I got. It's down on the bottom here.
Yes, Karen spotted Buster on the shelf.
Yes, on the shelf. He's finally out of the closet and he's here. So this is another set. I think it's really cute. It's not giant sized set. So these are really nice. This is also a brand Decora, and these can be used with fondant as well as with cookie dough. Now I was really excited about these. I found these are kind of like sixlets, and they had them in a variety of different colors. I bought, this is like light gold, almost like ivory, silver, and I love this. This is a lilac color, and they taste really good. Very nice. I also bought, I was running out low of these, so I bought these. This is pretty standard, and I really like these because this is, I don't know if you guys can see, green, white, and yellow. Very spring-like, so I bought that. I also picked up some PME tips. We always talk about different tips. This is a small leaf tip. I haven't opened it. We talk about these a lot. So look how small this is. This is number 50 leaf tip. Super tiny. And then I also bought one. I think I did get 1.5. I don't know where that is, but yeah, here it is, 1.5. So you see the price tag for one tip, you know?
That's euros.
That's euros, yes. That's if you don't know what that is. They're pretty pricey. And I bought some different ones. This is like a curved pedal tip and things like that. And I also got these. These I really like. These are, I don't know if you can see, these are giant
Confetti.
goals. Yeah, I think this will be great for Christmas for the lights. So that's what I got. I also got this. Now I wasn't sure, maybe you can tell me if you think this is gonna work. I was going to, now this is for fondant, right? I would assume, but I really like the edging of this for the gingerbread house. Even if I don't cut through the dough, it will give me the outline and then I can cut it. So I'll see if that works.
Mm,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's my little shopping
Karen
spree.
requested that you show your wall.
My
Well,
wall.
yes.
So how do you want me to?
Well, you can just say here, yeah, you painted and then you added those.
So I'll show it next time. I'll show the process, okay, guys? I actually did share some of it in my stories, but I'll show the process pictures on Friday. How about that?
Perfect.
I'll have it ready so you guys can
Perfect.
see better. Okay, so today I'm going to be decorating Easter cookies, and I'm going with buttercream theme, buttercream medium, not theme, but Easter theme buttercream medium. Now this is buttercream for crusting buttercream. I have a recipe on the blog, and this recipe it includes powdered sugar, melted butter, and you can use milk or water and flavoring, and it does crust really nicely. If you wanted to crust softer, you can also add soft unmelted butter, like room temperature butter. I also tried mixing American buttercream and the butter crusting buttercream, and it also works. If you want to play with that, you can do that. Now I am going to use spatula instead of piping tip to piping bag to spread the icing. So I'm just going to do a pretty thin layer. I don't want to overdo it with buttercream because we'll be adding some border around.
So what cookies did you bake?
So these are, that's a good question. I used my soft sugar cookie dough recipe that is listed on the blog. It's a dough with sour cream. I don't know how many cookies you can, it depends on the size, but I did make quite a lot. These cookies that I'm decorating today, they are pretty large. And I use teal food coloring and a little bit of sky blue. Okay. Now to smooth it, I'm going to use this is a flexible spreader.
Scraper.
If you don't have this, you could get away. This is not as thick, but it also works. So this is I just got this out years ago from Divider. The divider, plastic dividers. Hi, Joanne. So you can also use that.
Another thing you can use is the lid of, let's say, margarine, or the lid of your your sour cream to cut a little scraper.
Exactly. So I'm just going to smooth it. I'm going to make, are they called speckled eggs? Speckled? Not speckled. What are they called? With like robin egg?
The teeth, you mean?
No. Robin egg. The egg is.
Oh, speckled.
Yes. I got eggs. It's hard to understand for someone who can get these anywhere. You're in Spain on Easter, they don't have anything. Seriously, like it's very limited. So I found this in a British store and I bought everything they had.
Oh yeah, you bought it all?
I bought all they had such a great variety, so I bought all of it. They have really nice, yes. So I was so excited that I found some Easter stuff. I'm leaving the edge kind of empty because I'm going to do a border there. Okay. It does not have to be perfect, okay? So that's okay. It's not completely perfect. All right. Good enough. Now with the spatula, if needed, you can trim some of this. And now comes the fun part. So this is cocoa powder. And I'm going to use, now you could use lemon extract or even vanilla. Or,
lemon extract in your cocoa?
Yeah, why not? Yes, you could. Okay, sorry if it disturbs your taste buds. Okay, then maybe almond would be nice. I'm gonna be using Everclear. It's going to evaporate really quickly, so I'm just going to add. We're just gonna make like paint, with cocoa powder. And now I'm going to be using coarse paintbrush to mix it. Now, if it's too thick, obviously you need to add a little more liquid. So it looks like it's a bit too thick. So I'm going to add a little more liquid.
Hi, Trisha.
And again, I'm adding Everclear. Vanilla extract would work as well. Almond extract. Marlon is very opposed to use lemon extract, so don't use that. Or if
Well,
you
lemon
do,
and chocolate for me and it's not good.
it's amazing. You have to try lemon ice cream and chocolate ice cream together. It's fantastic.
No, those that just doesn't
Okay,
go
guys, what do you guys think about this? Lemon and chocolate desserts. Do they go together, lemon flavor and chocolate, or is it
Tell us.
Have you tried it? I personally love it. This is going to evaporate pretty quickly, so you want to work quickly. I would suggest icing your cookies and then mix this after you're ready to.
I really like this idea, though.
What idea?
Use the cocoa powder instead of like black food color, you know?
So now, instead of using your fingers, because it does get. Oh, come on, folks. Give it a try. Be a little adventurous. I don't eat either. Lemon square with chocolate drizzle. Okay, yes, Judith. Finally, somebody on my team. Come on, folks. You need to try it. Okay, so now take your toothpick. And you see what's happening here? Instead of your fingers, it gets a bit messy. So you want to cover up your surface. And this is going to dry in no time.
Debbie's saying orange, chocolate, and lemon.
Okay, I don't know about that. Lemon and chocolate. Okay, Kelsey, my team.
We can agree to disagree.
Yes. Okay, so I think that's enough. Now I'm gonna lift that up. And this is crusting buttercream, so it's going to crust.
Did you find that once it dried that it became powderish again? Like, did it?
No, I do have one that is here. Oh no, I'll show it later because this is going to give away the whole design. So it really didn't. It stayed kind of chalky.
Okay.
Like maybe it will dry in a course of the life. So I'll show it later. It didn't get like powdery, like dry, So now I'm gonna do 3 lines with flowers. So I'm gonna just mark with my toothpick here where I'm gonna pipe those.
So this is buttercream, guys. She's not working in royal
ice cream. Really yummy. Recipes on the blog. Recipes actually listed it's in Christmas cookies where I have my buttercream for decorating cookies.
But she has a search bar. If you want to type it in her search bar, you'll find stuff easily.
Also, I'm going to be using these. These are, if you remember in the beginning of the year, we did a little unboxing sorts of gifts we bought or things we bought over the holidays. So I spent some time with the family in Prague, and this is what I bought in Prague. This is Dr. How do you say
Oetker?
So these are really nice shimmering pearls. And what's really great about these are soft pearls. So you can actually bite through them. You're not going to break your teeth. So I'm going to be using these yellow ones and blue ones for the flower centers. They are not super small, I have to say. They are not like tiny pearls, but they work really well for the flower centers. So I've got some pink and yellow for the flowers, and these are really going to be super simple. I'm just going to see if I have. Okay, I've got my.
So what tip is on your piping bag?
This is number 2. And I'm basically doing teardrop shapes. I'm going to try not to go in one line, so it looks more natural. I'm leaving the space between for the pink flower. So piping, and then I'm dragging it into the center. Okay, now for the centers on these, I'm gonna do blue pearls. And I'm using handy, these are sewing tweezers. You do want to push it down a little bit so it sticks.
So how would you package these? Would you package them? Would you put them?
Yes, actually, this buttercream, like I said, you have to try to see if you like this kind of buttercream with melted butter. You could make it with what's the clarified butter, which would make it even shelf like stable to be outside because it's right. So it does crust. I would just package them in a bag, in a clear bag, or you could do a bakery box. I have successfully stacked these also, but you have to let the buttercream crust completely.
So how long is that? What's the time for that?
Depends on how thick you spread it. You have to kind of like, yeah. You have to, if you spread it thick, then it's going to obviously take longer to crust and kind of partially dry. It's not going to fully dry. If it's too thin, it's going to usually dry fully. But like I said, if you prefer a buttercream that is softer, I would add a little bit of butter, regular unsalted butter at room temperature.
You could do this with royal icing too. This design, eh?
Yes, absolutely. I don't see why not. I haven't tried cocoa powder mixture on royal icing. I don't know what, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work. It does have, it adds a little bit of texture. I don't know if you can see, it does add a little bit of texture to the surface. So I don't know, but I have to try it. Have you tried, anyone tried cocoa powder like this on royal icing?
I have not. Hello, Daniela. I'd worry that once it's dry, that if the bag touches it, that it could, smear a little bit
Oh, you mean the cocoa
on
powder?
on royal icing, yeah.
It is possible. Like I said, I have not tried it.
Because the bag can sometimes, right, like
Yes.
connect
I
and
mean, ideally, really, you want to, the buttercream cookies. I think the safest is to keep them packaged in a bakery box, maybe even maybe 2 layers. But I wouldn't go like 5 layers of
yeah.
buttercream cookies. Just
But those pearls that you're adding actually keeps the bag away from the surface.
yes. Great observation as always, More.
Well, it adds a degree of like protection so that the bag doesn't stick and smear your surface.
I actually made these as piñata cookies. I'll show you once I'm done.
Is this row, Heather wants to know, is this row, the flowers bigger?
I'm not really thinking about it now. I'm just, you can make them bigger, smaller. It doesn't. It's not supposed to be like. They can be any size you want. Some of them can be smaller. Some of them can be bigger. You could also, if you're not confident with this type of flower, you could just do dots, if you prefer.
Did any of you guys get hit by that ice storm? Amber sent us photos. I mean, the trees are just coated in encased in ice in New York.
I remember being part of this ice storm a few times. It's quite something.
Yes, it is.
Because everything, yes, impacts you in such. I mean, especially. I mean, if you lose power, that's a big part of it.
And it kills. Like some trees really get decimated by it.
Yes, very heavy. Okay, so now I'm going to use. This is number. This is number 16. Star tip.
A good cookie size star.
This is a pretty large cookie. Now.
But I think if you're doing gift cookies, like I like this size. Like there's two kinds of cookies in my mind. There's ones you serve at the party, and then there's like gift size, and this is a nice gift size.
And there's not like ton of buttercream. You see how thin this is? It's not like loads of buttercream on there. I know some people are really concerned about that, and we'll get some not so nice comments about, either using too much buttercream or, too much royal icing. So this is like a good, I think, proportionate amount of buttercream to the cookie. And this is the recipe. This is a recipe I use the recipe for soft cookies. So these are more like cake, not like cake, but like.
Well, I'd compare them to a whoopie pie.
Yes.
Kind of ish, right?
So if you don't, yes. So this is like not a hard cookie. Very yummy cookie made with sour cream. And I know a lot of you made, I don't know, with this particular recipe, but maybe other cookies with also Greek yogurt. And you also, I think, have made.
Well, I actually had planned to make it and I didn't have, so I had yogurt, so I used it and it worked well. They maybe were a tad drier, but it worked. They were good.
Oh, this was a number 16. The star tip was number 16. I have another tip here ready. I have number 18, but 16 was just plenty. It was the right size. Now another design that I did, and this is for those of you, and I've done a tutorial last year, but I never published it. So if you want to do some stenciling with buttercream with these cookies, you can. However, these cookies have baking powder and baking soda, so the edges are not super sharp. They're nice, but they are not like, there's no corner, so to speak. No 90 degrees, so it's going to be really hard to create the what I'm trying to say, like surface ready for stenciling. So I decided to, instead of this size, I decided to buttercream this size. And I'm able to get a really nice flat surface, which is ideal for stenciling. Okay, now to stencil, you have to let this crust completely, or you could even speed it up. I know you do it oftentimes. You put it in the freezer, right? So you can put it in the freezer and then you can stencil over it and look like it's so pretty, right? I mean, and nobody has to know that this is the top side. Okay, so that's another idea you can do. I also did this. This is a very popular design with everyone. I think most of you probably done this. And this is also done. I did the basket weave with a star tip, I think, which is more forgiving than the regular basket weave piping tip. And again, the flowers were done with the same technique. And then I just added candy
eggs you found,
candy chocolates I found. Now these I have to show you guys. These are amazing. Okay, I bought 4 bags. I have 2 left. These are amazing. I love these. Yeah, there's no coating on these, no candy coating. This is just chocolate with those air bubbles inside. So So today, yes, so here are some ideas. We decorated this one today, and then this is another idea for you to try.
Is your basket a bit smaller than that, the speckled egg? Are they the same size?
No, these are different. No, this is a big giant cookie.
Oh,
They are smaller, obviously. This is a
okay.
small size. This is actually Kali's cutter. Hold on, I have it here. So this is a cutter for this giant cookie. Because these cookies, they, like I said, baking powder and baking soda, it creates a wonderful soft texture, but they also spread a little bit. They're not. It's not like you're gonna have a flat, cookie in your oven, but they do spread a little bit. So you can see the size wise, maybe I don't know, quarter inch, maybe a little less than that. I can kind of gauge it. Now this is a really nice cutter from Kali, Sweet Sugar Bell. I love this cutter because of its shape. It's more egg shaped. A lot of the cutters I see these days, they're
More ovalish.
more ovalish than egg shaped. So that's why I chose this cutter for the smaller cookies.
And they're good portion, like they're a good size.
Yes, this is a nice size. So I don't know if you can get your hands on this particular cutter.
I think the only time you could get that cutter is she's got now a new set at Michael's that has like a kind of an assortment. It's kind of like the version of Wilton's back in the day that had all the holidays in it. Anyway, it's available at Michael's and you can use the coupon, and the egg I'm pretty sure is in that. But she had some Easter sets and I didn't see them come back. She had some cute Easter sets and I didn't see them go on the market this year.
So a lot of you are requesting the basket weave. So the basket weave, it's just like with the basket weave tip. I really do think that the star tip is more forgiving because you can, like, if you make your gap, like, the important part is to keep the gap between the lines about the size of the
Piping tip.
piping tip or the line that is coming out. But with this tip, if you make your opening a little bigger, you can just squeeze it a little more and more icing will come out and it will fill that gap, okay? So that's why, so I'm just going to go this way. All right, I'm making it a little bigger here. You see how big that is? I made it so big. So I'm just going to squeeze more. You see what I mean? Really forgiving with the star tip. Okay, and if you're working on a round cookie, let's say, like this is curved, you see, so I actually used my handy
Boo-boo stick.
so imagine, I want to do this at one point because I already tried it with royal icing, but to do a different shapes. But you can use your boo-boo stick. Imagine like your cookies here, okay? I'm just going to do it like this. Imagine your cookies is here, so you can then remove that, trim that off. Okay. Something like that. Sorry, it's not perfect here. Okay, so you get the idea. Oh yeah, it definitely does look more complicated than it is. Yes. Once you get started, Marlene has her own technique when she starts from the middle, right? You start from the middle doing the basket weave.
Well, I just like to start in the middle because then you're for sure going to have like an even spread across. Like sometimes you'll end in a weird kind of edge. So this way it's like symmetrical. You start in the center.
And this is green royal icing. Obviously, it's green. And I used the grass tip here. And that's what you can use as well. With this buttercream, make sure that you cover your.
The boo-boo stick
Yes.
she's
Oh
doing.
yes, that is absolutely the handiest tool of all. And then you
And
can.
cheap and like $1.
Yes, super cheap. So I'm just gonna add this egg in there. Okay, there. If you don't have the eggs, you could, I guess,
You could make transfers.
you can make transfers. You could even make
Little fondant eggs.
fondant. Yes. M&Ms would work also. I mean, they are not exactly egg shaped, but they would also work. So,
But right now, generally, look, she's saying it's hard to find eggs, but she even found them in Spain. So you generally during Easter time, they're pretty easy to come across, right?
I have my bag here because I found like so many different varieties. Really nice.
I thought you brought them there so that Rado wouldn't eat them all.
He no, he doesn't touch these things. You know how like he couldn't be bothered. No, I could like put it on a plate in front of him. He won't touch it.
He doesn't. He's not.
Unless it's Milka. You know, that's
His
chocolate. Yes. If anyone knows Milka, in kids, we always joke it around because in the commercial they would packaging on Milka is purple, and I think in a commercial they would show the cow purple, and then kids thought cows are purple.
Oh my gosh, that's not kids at sea.
So that's how, yes.
So here are my colors. So I used the electric set to color my icing, and you can get the colors really dark, or you can do like a pastel. I had posted a fast video this week actually, and this is where I decorated my bunnies as Easter eggs. So this is just to show you guys like inspiration. So you don't have to use an egg shape. You see here, it looks just as cute on a bunny. So you can do whatever you have. And I did use Callie's cutter as well. As you can see, like Han mentioned, it's just more of a true like kind of egg shape. You get that nice point, But if you only have an oval cookie cutter, that's fine too. I mean, nobody's going to be,
There is no Easter egg police, I think.
Exactly. And when you're handing people the cookies, they're not like, no, I don't want your weirdly shaped.
No, I only take properly shaped eggs.
Exactly.
Yes, right.
Yeah, the sticks, they're called a two-ended tool. If you're
two-ended tool or a boo-boo stick, cookie scraper. They do have one more size. This is a larger size. Here are like them. Yeah, I have them here. So
here she's yeah.
Okay.
And Callie actually sells that the two-ended stick as well.
In a beautiful teal color, in a set of 3.
Set of 3, yeah.
Yes.
Here it is. Speak of the devil. There's hers. And I'm just showing here some,
The white one is also Callie's.
It is. This is also.
That is a dangerous tool. Her because it's so strong. The needle.
Yes. So these are needle tools, they're called, and you can purchase them. This is a cake one. PME makes a version of this, and the needle is smaller. And so the size of these impacts the displacement of icing. Like if you're using to spread or to pull the icing through. So just factor that in. See, this one here is a very thin needle, almost like a pin. So you could look in your sewing box and disinfect the needle if you wanted to use a small needle. And so I'm just going to bring in the cookies here before I start one to give you guys a visual indication of what's happening here.
No, Heather, no cookie police is coming after anyone.
No cookie police. That's it. Well, maybe they want a cookie. So here they are. So this is, for those of you that are not familiar with royal icing. So royal icing is an interesting medium. You can put it together and it still stays separate. So you can see here by the colors. So I put in this all wet icing, but you see the colors all stay separate. So you can pull the icing with the needles I just showed, and you see you get, it's called feathering, the technique. And then this here is a cookie that was dry, and then I piped in the same icing on top, and I coated that in some sanding sugar. And this is the sanding sugar that I bought that I did not love. It's by Sweet
Oh, this is
Toothberry.
the one. Yes, you had told. Yes, I remember
Yeah,
this cookie.
so today again, like my cookies are dry. I iced these maybe 4 days ago, and this was still sticking to the surface. It's almost like it's static cling onto the surface. So it is annoying. So I'm going to try tomorrow to see once they're dry if I can kind of brush it off, but it is annoying.
Is it
Like,
like super fine? Is it super fine?
it's
Crystal?
super fine. I would compare it to granulated sugar.
Oh, but you paid the
I paid more than granulated sugar. I paid probably what I would have paid for a 20-kilo bag, like like really seriously. All right, so now this is a white icing, and I'm just going to outline and flood the whole surface. Now, when you're working in runny kind of consistency, so this is probably you know, pretty runny. It's probably, 10-second-ish. You want to leave yourself a little bit more of an edge. See the cookie there that I'm leaving around the perimeter, because it will kind of move, because it's more fluid. It's like if you pour a container of pudding on the counter, well, it's not going to move as much as if you pour a glass of water on the counter, and it's a little bit like that. So the thicker your icing, the less it's going to go off on its own. You're going to have to drive it to wherever you want it to go. But the more fluid the icing is, it's going to decide. If your table is crooked, one leg is lower than the other, the icing is going in that direction. So now I've added my base icing. Now, depending on how dry your climate is, this is crucial stuff. Now, you don't want to waste too much time. You want to get the icing on there as quickly as you can. And so I'm just going to be adding in random colors. Oh, a piece of dry green
That
icing.
I'm so relieved that it happens to other people.
Yeah, sure.
Because, yeah, sometimes on the bag, if you don't clean the tip, there's
I've
a
got them all together here.
and it can fall into your icing. Thank you, Amber. That's so sweet. And Jan, so yes, have you used glaze? I have used glaze to decorate. Glaze made with royal with corn syrup. Have you used that more?
No, never.
Yeah, I have used it. I don't know, guys. Are you interested in seeing some of the some live, maybe using a different medium like glaze? Glaze is an alternative to royal icing. However, you cannot do the same thing with it. You cannot like pipe flour like roses and things like that. It doesn't get as stiff, but it has a soft bite. So some people prefer it over royal icing. So let us know if you'd be interested in something like that.
So now this is just, I didn't make the orange of the kind of the color wheel. And if your icing is not quite sinking, you can just give it a little shake, and then you can see, you see the light hitting it? It's all sunken in and become one flat layer. So that's one way to decorate cookies. Okay, now let's do a feathered version. Now, feathered version, you can flood the whole thing, do lines, and then come in and
Sally has the same. I'm also thinking the same. Yes.
yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, so you would like to see the glaze, okay?
So in this particular case, I've added rows of the icing. So by the time I got to the last color, this was already crusting. So I was trying to figure out how to resolve that issue. So first thing, I've got 5 colors. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking up the design here in 5. So you might want to just give yourself a little bit of a guideline for that, so that you know in advance where to kind of like, okay, I'm going to be putting this much pink or this much blue, okay? And hold on, let me wipe this. And now I'm adding a white outline, just because when you're adding kind of like rows like that of icing, it's hard to get the perimeter nice, because you're coming in and adding like the first color, and then here at the edge, it's just tough to get it to look nice at the perimeter when you add like the next row of colors. So now I'm starting with pink, and you want to work relatively fast. Now, you're not going to have to like, you know, Speedy Gonzalez.
I'm going to time you, okay?
Yeah. So now
And
I'm
the icing, I
connecting.
think it should also be about the same consistency, right? Like if you're
Yes,
working,
yes.
yeah, your icing is thicker, one icing is thicker, then it's going to give you trouble. What's this color you're using
This
now?
is that electric purple. So again, I'm connecting to that white perimeter, and it's not going to be that visible, but it's giving me a more kind of consistent outer perimeter. If I was coming in and adding the rows of color without that, it just doesn't look as kind of exact, you know, like the perimeter line is a little wonky.
Oh, that's funny because Candice was also asking what's the darker pink. So without even knowing, I was asking the same. So everybody
So
is like,
now what I'm doing is I'm actually going to pull now before I'm even done. So I'm wiping between pulls, and I'm wiping. Now I'm pulling this way, and then I'm going to pull the blue down into this way. And I can see already like it's resisting in the pink.
oh, really?
So this is what I did to kind of get this done, or else I wasn't able to do this technique. My basement is too dry. And now I'm connecting to the blue, and I'm going to just continue my lines. Like I can see where I'm supposed to pull, and I'll just do that after. Whoops. I'm just going to pull my blue here. I had a gap. Let's just connect to the perimeter. All right, now I'm pulling. You see, I know my line is here, so I'm just going to continue like as if I was doing it in one motion, but this is kind of like the solution to get it to not.
That's a great solution. I love it. So Amber is asking, what brand of able markers do you all use? The ones I have don't write on unfrosted cookies very well.
So you see there, we get a completely flat surface. Because I added the perimeter, that outer line is nice, as opposed to if I was to just do the rows without the perimeter, then it just would look a little wonky around the edges.
You have to then use your scribe, but then if you lose the time, like I mean, you have to work really fast with this type of.
And it's not that visible, the white, you know, and it doesn't look bad. If you want, you could do the color of the cookie. You could add like a little bit of ivory, and then it would kind of blend. Did you say your markers, which one you like, Hen?
I did not. I did not. Now to write on cookies, I usually use Food Doodler.
Yeah, food doodlers are very good. This one that you just saw me use was an Americolor.
Yeah, I'm always impressed with that yellow because it's like neon yellow.
Yeah, Americolor has a very nice paintbrush. Like it's like the tip is very paintbrushish, you know. But the Food Doodler, I'd say the Food Doodler is a good for icing. If you're like a beginner, it doesn't do a super fine line, but it's a good product. The Americolor is a bit chunky for detail. Like if you wanted to draw stuff in fine detail, it's quite fat. Okay, so there's that one. And now I'm going to do, here, let's do the purple.
So Angie was asking, when you do your paint your own cookie Easter eggs, do you do wet on wet or put the lines after they cross?
So I do like the wet on wet, because if you're giving a child the markers to color, well, that line, if it's raised, they're going to knock it. Like it's going to become like it obstructs the working, right? It's a little forgiving if they're doing painting, but if they're using a marker, it has to be wet on wet, or else the black line is going to be chipped off. And it just looks, I think, a little bit more like an actual coloring page.
Hi, June.
You know, hi, June. So now I'm just
actually, Marlene, Teresa, she has royal icing transfer sheets in her coffee shop. That's a template shop. These are all digital downloads, and you can use them to create bunnies. Right? You have bunnies, and what else do you have in there? I'm just
I
looking.
have to look back at what I have in there. I did add stuff last year because we started adding stuff there last year.
Yes. So
But
here's the link to Marlene's template shop, and you can check her shop and see what she has in the inventory. Like I said, they're all digital downloads. So you make a purchase and you download the file and you can print it immediately and start using it and making your bunnies or whatever you are trying to make. So yeah, just look in there. Hi, Victoria. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie says she gets the best tips and tricks from our show.
oh, that's great. We try. Okay, so now I've got all my lines, and you could certainly leave it like this. I like it like this, but I'm going to show you guys now. So this is the, oh, here, let's use a toothpick for those of you that don't have any high-tech gear. So this is obviously just a regular toothpick, and I'm just pulling now up the center. Let me grab my napkin.
It's rounded. It's a rounded toothpick. It's not flat one. It's a rounded toothpick.
So
That's
now,
my preferred choice.
so now when I do this, I'm displacing icing. So I'm pulling my icing, and a lot of it is kind of more over here. So you want to be careful because you can cause it to spill off the cookie. And then I'm pulling down. So because you do displace the icing as you do this. And the deeper you kind of push it into the icing, well, the more you have to play potentially to heal it. So you want to just do the surface because that's the line's only at the surface. It's not deep into the bottom of the icing. Here, let's give it a shake. And I could see at the bottom here that it was like kind of almost cracking already, that the icing was already starting to dry. So now you can see what happened. You see, we're getting this kind of like, it's called feathering. It's what you'd see on a millefeuille dessert, right? And you can do just sections, like you don't have to do the whole cookie. You could do the center only. So here, let's try that. I'll do one more. It's already, the time's flying. How do I do a wet on wet? Well, I can do a white one, and I'll do it with purple icing so that you guys can get an idea, but I don't have black right now. So, but you know, it doesn't have to be black. Like you could do gray. So I'm just adding my white icing now. Okay, so what you need when you're making these cookies for whoever, you could just do the white and leave them white, and the person would get to do whatever they want. So that's an option, just leaving them completely white. You just want to make sure that the surface is completely dry, and then you can pair the cookies with either food markers or with a paint a cookie palette. I was planning on doing that in an upcoming live. On Friday, I'm going to try very hard to do something for Black History Month. I got a request on Instagram, and I had never done anything for that. So I'm going to try very hard to think up a design for that. And so there's the, okay, so once you get that on, so I'm going to just do it in blue. So what you want to try to create is you want to try to create areas for them to color. So like a coloring page, for that to happen, you want to just, like, let's say if you were to add a dot, well, that dot can't really be colored, right? If it's just a dot. So you want to do a dot and then a dot of white inside of it so that they can color inside of it. So now I'm just, and you can just create like all kinds of shapes so that they can come in. And so now I'm just going to do these dots like I mentioned, and in the middle of those blue dots, I'm going to come in and add a little bit of white so that they can actually color those in. And so all you're doing is you're creating sections that can be colored. I do have actually a kit on Global Belly for this particular project. And there it is. So now once you've got it on, you can give it a shake. Now this is very fluid icing. I maybe would do my black lines in a slightly thicker consistency to get like the less expansion, because a wet line does expand.
Thinner.
Thinner, yeah.
You mean thinner, not thicker, right?
Yeah, like no, my icing would be thicker.
Oh, thicker. Oh, I thought I meant the opening on your bag would be thinner. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Well, yes, that too. That's true. Yes, Han, you're right. That would absolutely make a thinner line. Like right now, my hole is bigger because I want to be able to work quickly. But you get the gist of the concept here. And so once this is dry, there's all kinds of sections to come in and color. Now you could draw a rabbit. You could draw stuff on it if you wanted. So we have time for one more. I'm just going to show you guys now. I'll put it in the V tray. So this cookie, if you heard me before, it's completely dry. This dried like 4 days, okay? So you want to have a completely dry surface when you're adding sanding sugar to the surface, and you don't want the sanding sugar to stick. You want the sanding sugar to stick only to these lines here. Now my icing is runnier than what I would ideally be using for something like this.
Amber has the same sanding sugar. She also actually struggles with it, and it sticks to everything.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, I have to say. But if you're doing a whole coating, it's not bad look-wise, I have to say. It kind of looks nice. It gives it kind of like a really frosted look. So you could do maybe like the whole base in it and then do just a pipeline on top of it. And so now immediately, and you want to be careful. You see chunks fall out, and that actually can damage your thing. So and now I can't come in with a paintbrush to brush off the excess because I'll disrupt my lines. Mm-hmm. But it really does give a nice little finish because it's not chunky. It's very fine. So it gives it like a frosted look.
You know what it would be great for? Now I'm thinking the water ice. You know the cookies they do. Is it the water ice? It's like the ice cream thing.
Oh yes. Like snow cone.
Like snow. I'm sorry, snow cone, water ice. Snow.
Yes, snow cone.
Brain. Snow cone, yes. Like you do let's say 3 colors usually, right? They do 2 colors, and then it would be. I think it would work for that very well.
Yes, June. Not even on this. Normally, yes, but this, it's like I sprayed it, everything. No, this is so static, clingy onto the surface. You have to wait till it's completely dry, and then I have a big brush that I brush it off.
Really? So it is like sanding, like granulated sugar, because that's what granulated sugar would do. I wonder. Yeah, I don't know why that. I mean, interesting.
So that's it for the paint a cookie. Yeah, you'd like to see that as well, Cynthia? I'm Googling now. I'm in the process of thinking up an idea.
I'm sure it will be amazing.
Yeah, you can take your rabbit cookie cutter if you wanted to, and like, just do the rough outline of the bunny. But the white cookies, depending on the age of the children, that's also good because then they get to do the creativity themselves.
So if it sinks to the icing, it usually is your icing is too runny or the sugar is too small.
Yes.
I would think the sugar, I would think the icing is too runny.
And you could, if you want to, just use the sanding sugar then on the perimeter. So you could pipe a border, put the sanding sugar on your kind of like, outline, and then flood it.
Or if your icing is not too runny, then I would just wait a little. But I know what you mean. It has happened to me on occasion.
But the thing with sanding sugar, it sticks for a long time. It's not like the nonpareil that only has like this very short window of
I think you should be fine. Unless once it's crust, right? Once the icing crust, then.
So this here, just to show you, this is one that has nothing, and the icing bag, as you can see, is much smaller, so it gives a much more kind of fine detail. So if you want to do that, you just
This
have
is
to.
like on the top, right? On
Yeah.
the top. Yes.
So the surface is dry, so it's the same as this, but a smaller hole in the piping bag and not coated in the sanding sugar. And again, here is a bunny version, so you can make an Easter bunny egg thing if you want. And so here they are. So you don't have to pull the icing. You can just do stripes if you want, or half the cookie has it, or, you know, just
Thank you, Cynthia.
whatever you like.
Carla.
And this is a fun activity. Instead of painting eggs for Easter, you can prepare everything. And when the family arrives, they can decorate the cookies with the icing, and that could be your little kind of entertainment for the children.
Well, maybe Marnie, I'll do that on Friday, or something of the sort. You need to use stiff icing to do that yeah. I mean, maybe we are ready to wrap it up, but maybe I can make something along those lines on Friday. Thank you, Nana.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for joining us. So today we did 2 eggs. Two eggs. We didn't do 2 eggs, but
2 Easter projects.
Easter projects. I didn't really decorate this one, but you got to see how to do the basket weave. So there they are, side by side. Okay.
Oh, that's very bright.
Okay. All right. So there. So I hope you guys were inspired some of these. If you do make them, please let us know and send us pictures. We love to see them. You can also tag us on Instagram or send us pictures directly via email or or even DM us on Instagram. We love to see them. Sally, are you done with your cookies yet?
I'm sorry, what?
I said, Sally, are you done with today's project?
Sally. Yes. She's
All right,
always
guys.
making cookies. Bye, everybody.
Bye.